Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Heart and Health Wellness. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Welch, and I'm excited to dig into today. It's going to be a little bit less structured, maybe, than some of the other episodes, but I just felt like this was something that I was experiencing in my own life that I could share about. So today is going to be all about finding purpose, and not really in a like you have to figure it all out right now, very pressured kind of way, but more of just a get grounded, get centered, and make sure that you find a way to connect with purpose and values in everyday life. So I would encourage you to go ahead and grab a journal and a pen, or maybe your notes app, or just take some time either on a walk or your commute to get quiet and be able to focus and reflect while we're going through today's episode. And also, if you are tuning in, you get to see both of the kitties. Reggie just jumped up on my lap, and Skeeter just made an appearance in the background walking through the kitchen. So say hi, kitty cats. And if you're just listening, a quick reminder that you can watch this both on Spotify. There's an option to watch the video, or you can tune in on YouTube. And every week when I post my episodes on Tuesdays, I share them in both of those spots. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about why having purpose matters. Fundamentally, having some kind of purpose in life gives you reason to wake up in the morning and keep going even when times are really difficult or when they're really good. It gives you a focus, a drive, and a direction for your life. And this is so good for us, not just emotionally or psychologically, but also just in how we feel in our bodies physically. Obviously, spiritually, that's a huge part, but also how we interact with those around us and our relationships too. So, like with everything that we discuss on here, having purpose is directly related to your biopsychosocial spiritual health. So, all of the different areas, your physical, your psychological, your social, and your spiritual. All of those domains are directly influenced by and influence the purpose that you have in your life. One of the things that I think is most important about having purpose in my life, generally speaking, is that it gives me a way to be able to make decisions that are difficult decisions. And I might be feeling torn. And fundamentally, when I sit down and I look at, okay, these are my values, and we're going to talk more about values specifically today, but these are my values. This is what my purpose is in life. Does this decision go with that purpose or does it go against it? And I often use time of reflection, talking with people that I'm close to in my life, and prayer to help me make that decision. But it helps when I really break it down to, is this aligned with my purpose or not? And that usually, not always, but usually gives me a good amount of clarity and can make things simpler to decide on, which I appreciate. But it also gives us a sense of meaning, and that what we're going through has some reason to it, or a way of, even when it's a challenging situation or a difficult experience, we have a way to say, okay, we can use this to be in alignment with our purpose. And that helps us to have that motivation to keep going, even when things are really hard. And I feel like anytime that we lose sight of our purpose, or it feels like it's hard to see the purpose in what we're going through, we often feel disconnected, not just from ourselves, but from those around us, from our work, from everyday interactions and things that we're doing. And that disconnection leaves us feeling tired and unmotivated and just feeling kind of blah. And so nobody wants to feel that way. That blah is a technical term that we learned in therapy school, but nobody wants to feel that way. And so when we are doing all the things that we think are the right way, but we don't have that sense of purpose, life just doesn't feel great. So having a clear sense of purpose, having clear alignment with your values can really help us to enjoy life and experience it to the fullest in a way that makes it much more fun to go through. I want to point out that having a purpose doesn't have to be, or having a specific purpose that maybe you've like written out, or you have kind of this statement about who you are and what you're doing in life, doesn't have to be big and flashy. And there's often times that we have these little moments throughout our day, whether it's how you're a parent with your child, or how you show up for your friends or your coworkers, or just how you are taking care of yourself. those moments matter. Those little moments are what bring life to life. They are energizing and engaging, and they help us to feel good and solid about what we're doing. Those little moments are, in my opinion, much more meaningful than some of the big flashy things that we would try to impress others or achieve big things. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Enneagram. It's a personality quiz kind of, but on the Enneagram, I'm a type 3, which if you know anything about the Enneagram, that might not surprise you, but usually that's someone who's like a real go-getter, lots of goals, not great at sitting still. You like to do a lot, like big projects, and you like to be known for what you're doing. And so for me, I think that is a really helpful reminder that yes, having achievements and goals and doing things in life and making it places in my career, those are important, but that's not as meaningful as some of those little moments that are aligned with my values of family and being a good mom and things like that. Just a gentle reminder that if you are someone like me who feels like you need to be doing a lot or doing the big flashy things, that it's okay if your purpose and your meaning in life are smaller and simpler than those things. I hope that is resonating with some of you. I also want to point out that it is okay for your purpose in life to shift and change over time. I'm a big believer that our life has different chapters, or some might call it seasons, and there's going to be a different purpose or intention or meaning to each of those chapters or seasons. And so, what was your purpose at one point in your life may not feel the same way to you, may not feel connected for you or in alignment for you now. And some of you might feel like, well, what am I doing wrong? Because this once brought me so much meaning and joy in life and it doesn't anymore. Where did I mess up? And I would encourage you to reframe that thought and instead think about, how have I grown, or how has life helped me learn or shift my values or my purpose and meaning now based on where I'm at contextually, based on what's going on in my life. What is important to me now? How has my family changed? How's my environment changed? And allow yourself to be this evolving individual who's going to have evolving purpose and meaning. I do believe that fundamentally your values are going to stay pretty consistent, but those can shift as well too. You know, my value of being a good mom, well, that wasn't the same thing when I was not a mom 2 years ago. So that changes with time, and that's okay. That's a normal part of growing, learning, evolving as a person. So don't be too hard on yourself if it feels like it's different, you got kind of lost somewhere along the way. And also be encouraged by the opportunity to redefine or evaluate what your purpose and meaning are in life now, given your current chapter circumstances and what's going on for you, what fits best for you. It's okay for that to change with time. So, what exactly is a purpose? Well, it is your why behind everything that you do. It's the reason for your decision making, the reason for your behaviors and your actions, but it's different from having this productivity or ambition. Like I described, this is something that can be in these small, minute moments of every day, not just these big achievements that you're accomplishing or wanting to accomplish or comparing yourself to and things like that. So you can have purpose in things like rest or in things like play or having boundaries. All of that can be in alignment with your purpose and your values, but those aren't necessarily things that you're doing or accomplishing or achieving, right? So, for example, and this is directly related to what I was experiencing in the last week or so, when you go to work, there's a couple of different purposes or values that might be in alignment there. For one, you're going to earn a paycheck so that you can live your life and possibly provide for your family. But two, maybe there's an opportunity to help others. And if that's one of your values, that might feel really good. For me personally, that's a big one for me. I love helping other people, but fundamentally, on my worst days at work, I'm still earning income to support my family, and that feels really important to me. So it's okay to also have multiple values, multiple purposes that are fueling your drive to keep going when it's hard. So I think having one key statement or purpose in life while that might be kind of trendy or fun to do, I don't know how helpful or effective that actually is. I think it's actually more helpful for us to have multiple purposes aligned with our values, because not every day is going to be, perfect day aligned with this purpose, but maybe we have multiple purposes in life, and there's ways to connect it here on a day where it doesn't feel connected there. And so it's okay for that to shift and move. And I think really the goal here is for you to understand that it can be fluid and change, and that is still a really good thing. It's okay that it's not one way all the time and has to be concrete. Again, I think the intention behind having a clear purpose is so that you have alignment with your values, and it gives you a way to guide your decision making and your actions in life so that you can be living life to its fullest in that alignment. That alignment is key to feeling good about how all this is coming together. Okay, so next let's talk a little bit more about values specifically, separate from purpose, or just slightly separated from purpose. We can't separate it completely, but making sure that you're in alignment with your values is crucial. So when we feel like we're in alignment with our values, we're going to experience more fulfillment and feel better in general about what we're doing in life. Those values are the personal, like, guideposts or pillars in your life. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. So the things that you want to make sure you're honoring with your time, with where you're at, how you're engaging with the world, with others, your values are the things that are going to help make those directions clear. So for example, if you're going to value connection, maybe you seek really meaningful relationships and really pouring into those relationships, even if you're an introverted person. Maybe you have a value of growth and you want to keep learning and trying new things, or pushing yourself and reflecting even when it's hard. Or maybe you have a value of peace, and so you really want to prioritize boundaries and having some spiritual practices that keep you connected to an inner peace. It doesn't matter what your values are, everyone's are going to be different. It's okay that your values are unique to you, and again, unique to you in this current season that you're in. When those daily choices are in alignment with your values, it feels like you are living on purpose. And even in those small moments, living on purpose gives life so much meaning, so much joy, so much fullness. And it just feels really good to be living on purpose in alignment with your values. So finding ways to do that is crucial. Hi, Reggie. Reggie's back again. So let's talk real quick about how alignment with your values connects to your biopsychosocial spiritual health. And I touched on this briefly earlier, but let's go into it a little bit more. So biologically, you need to be taking care of yourself in a way that supports your bigger purpose and your why, right? If my value is to be able to be a good mom who's present and engaged with my little one, well, that probably means that I need to be able to physically engage and interact with him. The child has so much energy, and I need to be able to get up, move around, get down on the floor, move around. And so that means that I need to be taking care of my body physically so that I have the energy and the capability to do that. Now, if you are someone who really wants to have, new experiences and grow and learn, well, you need to be able to have, good nutrition, stay hydrated, get good sleep so that you have the energy to be able to do that. And if you're not taking care of yourself physically, you're not going to have the energy to go exploring and learning and bringing things in. Your brain's going to feel exhausted and sluggish and foggy, and you're not going to be able to do that. Physically, we have to take care of our bodies in order to be able to live in alignment with what our values are. And then psychologically, I've already talked about this a little bit, but having clear values and purpose helps us to be able to make decisions. So instead of sitting there in anxiety and wondering, what if I do this? What if I do that? If I'm clear about, okay, well, having time with my family on the evenings and the weekends is most important to me, then I can make decisions about work and schedules and things like that much more easily and have clear boundaries for myself because I know what matters most to me. I want my career to go great, but I also want to be present for my family. And so that's what I'm going to prioritize most. And then socially, if we think about how we decide who we're spending our time with, who we're investing in, who we're allowing into our circle of influence. Those people need to have similar values so that we feel good about those relationships. I'm not saying that you only connect with people who have the exact same values as you. That's certainly not what I'm saying. I think it's good to interact with all kinds of people that challenge you and things like that. But for those who are going to be really close to you, that you're really going to invest a lot of your time in, I think it helps to have friendships, relationships with people who do have those similar values. That relationship will reflect your own purpose and values too. I think this one's pretty obvious, but we'll just call it out anyways. Being able to stay connected to a larger purpose gives our life a sense of meaning and feeling like we have direction and connection to the world around us. And so obviously having purpose and clear value alignment is very helpful to our spiritual health as well. Okay, so all this talk about values, and you're going, okay, but what are my values? Maybe I'm not clear on them yet. Well, let's talk about some things that you can journal about or spend some time reflecting on to help you identify your values if you're not clear on them already. I want you to take some time to think about when you felt really proud of yourself or somebody else or a situation. Anytime you feel really proud or feel very fulfilled with what you're doing, or even feeling really frustrated, anytime there's like a really intense emotion, whether positive or negative. And I want you to ask yourself what values were either being honored in those situations or totally violated in those situations. And if they're being honored, that's probably a good sign to you that those are values that you hold dear and true for your own life. And if it's something where it feels violated, that's probably also a good sign to you that that's important to you. So ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be remembered as? What makes me feel most like myself when I feel like I'm truly me and that others see me and get me? What do I want to prioritize, even if I haven't been doing it yet? And I think another one, I'm going to call out Enneagram threes because that's what I am. If you feel like someone else is wanting you to do something and so you feel like you need to do that, that's great. You can continue to work on that in your professional space or even your family space. But I want you to ask yourself what's important to you and do that. What values are important to you, not what somebody else cares about, but because it's what you care about, and really challenge yourself with that. So I would encourage everybody to pick at least 3 to 5 core values. It's okay if you have more than that, but I think having 5 max core values is going to be really helpful to you when you're trying to make those decisions. So some examples that you can think about would be compassion, integrity, joy, growth, peace, connection, courage, creativity, service. So that should get you started. Those are some good options. A family is a big one for me, but you could call that connection. Try to identify at least 3 to 5. I really think having a clear understanding of what those values are is going to help you get into alignment to feel like your life has purpose and guide you when you're struggling with whatever is going on. Okay, so now I want to talk about what it means to find purpose within your life as it exists now. There's always an opportunity to expand what we're doing, right? And to find purpose in something else that you're not already doing and you want to bring it in. But there's also a lot of benefit to examining your life currently and asking which areas are most in alignment with these values that I've just identified or I've been reflecting on. And find the things that you already have that you can either pour into more, or maybe they've been sitting in the background on the back burner and you can bring them up more, or maybe you're already doing a good job of pouring into it and you want to stay consistent with that. That's fine. But let's find things that are within your life currently. So for example, for someone who is really busy all the time, maybe there's an opportunity for you to just show up and be with your family and be as patient as possible and try to slow down, even if it feels like everything in the evening with dinner and homework and things is going really chaotic. I'll give you an example in my own personal life. A lot of times I feel busy and hurried, and sometimes my little one decides that he wants to take a sit on the stairs while we're going up the stairs. And sometimes I really do have to say, you know what, but we have to go up the stairs now. Like we don't have time. But I've challenged myself when we're not in a hurry. When we truly do not have something that we're waiting on or that is waiting on us, it's okay to sit down for a few seconds because it's so cute. He sits on the stairs and he pats, the stairs next to him. And he's like, Mama, sit. And he wants me to sit with him. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's okay to take a few seconds to just sit with him and just enjoy the sunshine and the breeze and listen to the birds. It's okay to do that. It's kind of weird. I wouldn't normally do that if I wasn't with my almost 2-year-old. But when he wants me to do that, it's okay to sit and to slow down. So that's a way to align with my value of being a very present and intentional and mindful mother. And so that's just an example of when you are busy and things feel chaotic, find opportunities to slow down a bit and just be present and showing up. If you're someone who is very like growth minded and you like to stretch yourself and push yourself, maybe you're busy and you enjoy feeling really good. Maybe you're busy with something like school, getting another degree, or just going to get a degree, and you feel a lot of pride in accomplishing things like that. That's not a bad thing. Definitely do that. But I would encourage you to recognize why it is that you feel good about that? And is it because you are valuing your work? Is it because you're valuing your growth and your journey? What is it that makes it feel so fulfilling to you? And really have a clear idea of what that connection is between your purpose and your values and why it's fulfilling. If you are someone who is totally just trying to hit the reset button and like clean the slate and start fresh, I would encourage you to try and say no to something, to set some boundaries so that you can say yes to taking care of yourself and paying attention to your wellness more regularly. It is okay to set boundaries and set limits if it's preventing you from being able to live the life that you want to live. I would encourage you to try and do that. So anytime we have these daily actions that are aligned with our life purpose, it gives us an opportunity to really sustain wellness on a very baseline level. How can I say that differently? Just like how I talk about self-care and wellness as something that's not above and beyond or special, having purpose in life that's aligned with your values should be, and I'm smiling because I don't like that word should, are an opportunity to feel connected to your purpose every day with the little moments. Doesn't have to be big fancy stuff. You can find value alignment in everyday activities, and I would encourage you to try and do that. Okay, so I want to leave you with some more journaling or discussion prompts. Now, I've learned in the last couple of weeks of just talking to people more about journaling that some of you really don't like journaling. And that's okay. I'm someone who likes to pick up journaling sometimes and then put it down at other times. It's a hit or miss with me, and I get it. So if you are not someone who enjoys journaling, even really short, brief bullet journaling, like I suggest, you can use this as discussion points with your spouse or a family member or best friend. So it's okay if you'd rather talk about it than write about it. But here's some things that I want you to consider. Number one, what values matter most to me right now in this season of my life or this chapter of my life? Number two, how do I want to show up in my relationships? Or what version of myself do I want to show up in relationships? Number three, where do I feel most disconnected from purpose? And what small shift could I make to realign it? So, where are things feeling off? And how could you realign it to your values to make it feel better? Number four, what is one way I can live out my purpose today, right where I am, without adding anything in? What do I have going on currently that I could make sure feels like I'm living out my purpose? I would encourage you to either journal in a book if you have that as an option, using your voice memo to just talk it out to yourself. I think that's another great form of journaling, or talking with someone who's close to you that you trust, who can challenge you and ask questions and encourage you. I think that can be really helpful too. Or a therapist, if you have a therapist you want to talk to about, maybe that would be good too. Okay, so let's wrap it up here. Hopefully you got something from today's conversation about what values are, what a purpose is, and why it's so important to have clear alignment with your values to feel like you have a sense of purpose that's being lived out and fulfilled in your daily life. I want to remind you gently that you do not have to have this figured out overnight. And it is okay if it has changed in this season of life that you're in, and you need to reflect and revisit what it is to figure out what that current purpose looks like in your life to get clarity on that. That's okay for you to have to do that. You just need to know what matters to you, not everybody else, what matters to you, and then let that shape and influence how you show up in each and every moment. And also have grace with yourself when you don't do it quite right and you don't show up in the way that you would like to. Use those moments as learning opportunities that guide the way you respond in future situations. And with that, I'm going to close it up. If this episode resonated with you at all, if you found it helpful, please go ahead and give it a solid review, either 5 stars or a thumbs up, whatever it is on the platform that you're listening to it or watching it on. And please share it with at least one other person who might benefit from this as well. That is the best way to help me get the word out about the podcast, and I really appreciate your help in doing so. If you haven't already, give me a follow at Heart and Health Wellness on Instagram. I've been good about being consistent and posting on there daily, so that's probably one of the best ways to stay connected with me. And I've also been trying to share on my stories there about kind of what I'm doing throughout the day or how I'm living out this stuff in the moment so that you can see those real life examples. So I hope that is helpful, but that's a great way to connect with me in my DMs or through comments on there as well. Just remember to be kind to yourself. You are doing so much better than you give yourself credit for. I know that because it's true in my life as well. And I'm proud of the work that you're doing. And I'm thankful for you showing up and allowing me to be part of that process as well. Until next time, take care of yourself and be well.